Hello, friends. We are still a work in progress here, so thank you for your patience. We are. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Linda, good morning. Great to see you last night. If you're doing well. Donna, good morning to you. I hope things are good. Kristen, good morning. Hello, hello. Jamie Battles, everybody. Good morning, Jamie. Still a work in progress here, also. Feels ya. Oof, man. Yeah. So yeah, I think getting things working here is every day seems to have a new challenge to it. So we're getting there though. It's endeavoring to persevere, as we say. So glad you're here. Glad everybody's coming by. Good to see everyone this morning. Let's get going. It is the 12th day of May, May the 12th, on this uh, 2022 Thursday at 11:11 ish. So thank you for your patience. Glad you're here and glad you're a part of this journey. I am. It is always a joy to be a part, to be here with you, whoever's hearing my voice, whether you're live with us right now, whether you're out there, whether you catch us later, it is a joy to come and be with you. It's a joy to discover what's going to pop up in the chat. It's a joy to see your little digital faces and let them remind me of your real faces. That one day we whether it's tomorrow or this afternoon or sometime in the future, see one another face to face. All of it is good and right and true. So welcome this morning. I want to talk about curiosity. A little bit earlier this week, we talked about uh, the idea of being fearfully and wonderfully made in the way of the way the psalmist puts it. And but those two components, we broke that down a little bit, but I wanted to come back to it and spend a little more time with it because I think there is a richness in it and there's a discovery in it, which we actually kind of miss, and it's really born, I think, out of curiosity. Um, there's some of this comes from by a guy by the name of Chip Conley, and Chip Conley, he's one of the biggest hoteliers in the world. But he talks about these kind of little emotional equations. He has this notion of emotional equations, which he now what does being in a hotel have to do with emotional equations? He says, well, because the thing about hotels are the primary thing you're doing is creating hospitality. You're creating an environment in which people can find the single most welcoming thing, that be welcomed in a place that they have not been welcomed before. Discover goodness, discover beauty, discover comfort. Not just there's a lot of places with rooms and bad art on the walls. The question is there, and Chip Conley is one of these guys who has been brilliant at creating hospitality in his hotel chain. And he talks about these little emotional equations, and I love this because it really is right out of what the psalmist is talking about, or right out of what the book of Exodus is talking about. That when Moses is moving through the desert and is to get to be called, he encounters an angel, and the angel appears to him. And this is how the famous little piece of text goes. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, and yet was not consumed. And Moses said, I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. There's baked into that, inherently in that, is this curiosity, this willful curiosity. Notice he says, he makes the declaration, I will turn aside to see this great sight. Now Moses had been up against it. He'd been accused of murder. He'd run off to spend time with his uncle. He was on the lam. Like, there's all kinds of bad things. You know, Moses is not in a happy, comfy place. He's actually in a scary place. But he makes this conscious choice. I will turn aside to see this great sight and why the bush is not burned. I will be curious. It is a declaration that he makes about life. And I actually believe that when we talk about the psalmist, this notion about how we are made, about how we are constructed, that we are built for curiosity. We're built to figure out how things work. We're built to encounter something new. We're built to go to the coffee store and encounter a new conversation with somebody we hadn't met before. One of my dear old friends used to say when he would go on random trips to random places, and he says, I say, he'd go into Southern California one time, and he says, why are you going there? He says, well, there's a lot of people there I haven't met yet. That's as good a reason as I've ever heard. Just an open curiosity of the world. And I think it's worth, and I want to spend a moment just breaking this down, because this is what we find in the psalmist, and this is part of Chip Conley's work too, is that when we talk about being fearfully and wonderfully made, so we have this awe component. That's the fearfully thing. Fearfully is not, God, he's going to get me. It is the fact that we live in awe. The fact that we walk outside and look at the stars, and there are so many of them. We can go walk on a beach, and the grains of sand and the waves that are truly endless that are out there. The encounter with the infinite that we have every moment. And if we have some eyes for it, if we look around for it, we will be bathed in this fearfulness of creation, because this notion that we just can't get our arms around this thing, and this awe of what what we are a part. And the second component of the psalmist is that we are fearfully, but we are also wonderfully made. We are filled with goodness, and that there's goodness in our midst, that there's a sense of wonder, that we can, as the great Walter Brueggemann talks about. He has this way of speaking when he asks a question. He says, I have a wondering. It's such a beautiful way to ask a question. He says, I have a wondering. It's not that he can, and sometimes he asks some really pointed questions. I mean, he is a brilliant guy, Professor Brueggemann, but he has the sense of of appreciative inquiry, if you will, of inquiring in such a way that says, I have a wondering about what you're saying, about, in this invitational sense. And so this combination of wonder and awe are the things that bring us curiosity. So when we read in the psalm that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, we are born for a life in a world of adventure. One of my very favorite theologians from the last century, a guy by the name of Alfred North Whitehead, said that the meaning of life is adventure. Now you can say that like that seems very flippant and seems very like off the cuff, like, oh, go have an adventure today, like something like that, like each day is a Disney ride or something. But when you slow down and contemplate that for a moment, the notion of moving through the world as if we are in adventure, as if we are in this space where we never know what's going to pop out around the corner. And we can live that way in terror and in fear. And this is the thing that I think is so powerful about this way in which we are built for curiosity. And the way in which that our curiosity, in what we see in Moses, is what unlocks our willful curiosity, is what unlocks our encounter with the divine. It's what unlocks the angel of the Lord. He could have seen the burning bush and just said, well, because again, Moses had a lot of things to be afraid of, and a lot of reasons to be afraid, and a lot of things going on that, people looking for him, wanting to put him in the pokey, that all manner of things that were happening. And yet he made a willful decision to say, isn't that curious? And move toward it. Friends, my invitation to you today is to consider curiosity as one of the great tools in your toolbox, your willful curiosity of getting out of the constriction of life. To be willfully curious about the things that are on fire around you, about the things that are in movement around you. They don't even have to be on fire, just the things that are alive around you, that are in movement. To have a sense of curiosity. Because this is the thing, is that it's very difficult to be curious, almost impossible when you're afraid. And that our willful curiosity is in fact the antidote to fear. That we think the antidote to fear is our courage, like we blow ourselves up in this pufferfish kind of way so that we can put into the world our strength, and we can be alive and something like that. But that's not really it. That's kind of faking it, and there's a way in which faking it till we make it works, and that's a real spiritual discipline. But the turning toward the fire, the turning toward I wonder what's going on over here, or I wonder what's going on inside that person that made them snap or angry or withdraw. I wonder what's happening here in what I think is kind of a ludicrous statement. I wonder what's going on. Are you catching it? Are you seeing what's happening? That when we step into our wondering, when we step into our curiosity, it is almost impossible to continue to maintain fear. And this is the thing about the psalmist. This is how God says we are made. We are constructed for curiosity. We are constructed to inquire into the world. And that in the Moses text in Exodus, that in our inquiry into the world, into our inquiry in the things that are on fire around us, is the very message from God. It is the angel of the Lord. The very presence of God in our midst is right there in the things that are happening around us. I really want to encourage you to do this. I really believe this is a true spiritual discipline. Curiosity and the willingness to step into how we are made is a true. Now, some of us are going to come to it more than others, but it is the true antidote in this world in this world right now, where everything is kind of trying to push our fight or flight button, where everything's trying to get us ramped up about something or fired up about something else, or is trying to get us to withdraw from the good and beautiful things of our life, or trying to get us to simply kind of get some kind of zazen, like, well, it'll all just be fine. No. The reason I'm a Buddhist, because we are called to be engaged in this world. We're given this incredible gift. We are built fearfully and wonderfully. We are built for creativity. We are built for curiosity, to discover what's going on with that other person, to discover what's going on in the world, to discover what's going on in the things around us. And that the thing about curiosity is it's not reactive. Fear, reactive. Runaway, reactive. Anger, often reactive. Sometimes those things are called for, and sometimes they're necessary. But to be ruled by them is to be no more than just a big pile of rods and synapses smacking together. It's to be no more sometimes than just an animal. We're born for more than that. We're made for more than that. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the psalmist tells us. We're made and we're born to turn ourselves towards the fire and to look towards the angelic, to look to the things that are on fire and inquire about them, to see what's going on there. So again, my invitation to you is this is a real spiritual discipline that can truly be mined and enhanced in your life. And you'll discover if you're curious about something, if you make a choice to be curious about something, you see somebody in the coffee store with a quivering lip, and say, you can approach that person and say, are you okay? Like, we can, all of the things in our midst, the entire world is on fire, begging for us to inquire about it, begging for our curiosity. And it's not just that the world needs us to be curious for the healing of the world, but it's that we need to be curious to pull us out of our reactivity, to pull us out of our fear, to pull us out of our flight, to pull us out of our anger, and to encounter the world not as we want it to be, but to encounter the world as it is, and to counter the holy within that. Remember, that burning bush is on fire because the angel of the Lord is in it. And what does the angel of the Lord say? Take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground. Friends, we walk through the day every day encountering holiness, standing on holy ground, unawares of the fires that burn around us, unawares of the beauty that might be trying to find its way to us, unawares of the angels in our midst. And that truly, this invitation to our very constructed being, our fearfully and wonderfully made self, our sense that when we take our awe of the universe, that holy smokes, this thing is huge, and I get to participate in it. This awe and our sense of wonder, of like, wow, I wonder what's going on over here. Of our willingness to be bedazzled by the universe. When we take those two things and we put them together, they become the action of curiosity in our lives. And so my invitation to you today is to step into the curiosity of your being, to step into the way that you are made, to be curious. Be curious about your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your random occasional person that you're walking down the street and bump into. It be your mailman, your nail salon artist, whatever it is, wherever you find your. Be curious about the person in front of you. Be curious about yourself. Be curious about these big things that are going on inside of you that you sometimes might just rather just tamp down and throw a glass of wine and a brownie on top of or something. And that be curious about the world as it is and about what's happening, and discover in it that behind every bush is ready to blaze a fire with the voices of angels. That every step is a step towards a promised land. That every opening is a step into the way you are made and were built for this world in fearfulness and wonder, and put those together. And it is a life lived of radical curiosity. So that's my hope for you today. You'll be curious. Maybe you'll be curious about what goes on inside a church at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Maybe our church. Maybe you'll maybe you'll be curious what goes on in wherever you are, that you might find yourself a community to connect with. Maybe you will be curious about what's going on in your own heart and your own mind. Wherever you are called to point that great intention, that great turning toward the burning of curiosity that is the gift from God for us to discover all good and beautiful things. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. My thanks to Chip Conley and all those folks. So I hope you're well. Hey Yvette, hey Vicky, glad you made it. Vicky gave a great presentation. If you're friends with Vicky on Facebook, she put it up on her Facebook page about a lot of her mission work. If you want to watch some of that and revisit it, it is there. It really just a really beautiful, heartfelt sharing of the work that she's done down in the Dominican for for 9 different trips and helping people that are truly living in the margins of the world. If you want to go check that out, please do. Donna, yep, Pineapple Couch, there it is. Anybody, there's always a cup of coffee or a glass of tea and a little time at the Pineapple Couch for anybody who might need it here at First Congregational Church. All right, friends. I pray you have a great weekend, and we'll pick it up next week. This week we are coming to worship at 10 a.m. We have the sacrament of baptism to be celebrated, which is just one of our great joys. And I hope each one of you will take some time today and turn toward and see why the brush is not burned. Turn toward and live into your created nature as a curious little creature of God. And see what angel is lurking behind the goodness of your day. All right, peace and grace, my friends, and we'll pick it up next week with another 11:11.